want to welcome you to Dime to Diamonds today, our podcast. I am Suzanne Porske with Phoenix Financial Group, and I am joined in studio today with
Mark Farquhar with Phoenix Financial Group.
Rachelle Harp with Rachelle Harp, CPA, accounting.
It's whatever. You do it all there. And it's family. You have your husband's in the office now, and mother-in-law.
Yes, mother-in-law is, and she's doing a lot already, so she's excited about that. And then, my husband's there, and he's helping and enjoying it.
Isn't it great?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic environment.
Mm-hmm. And you can get annoyed with them, and it's okay.
That's very true.
I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. So today we're going to talk about understanding the emotions behind financial decisions. And I think coming off of Christmas, the new year, even though we want to make these a timeless podcast, that's the truth of it. You got a lot of emotions, a lot of families that spend a lot of money. Now they're going to be getting the bills in January. It's showing up.
Yeah, and tax season's hitting. Starting, so.
Yes. More bills. Yep.
Yes. And the blog that I posted on our website, phx.financial, it goes over, and I didn't realize that 43% of U.S. adults say money negatively impacts their mental health. And that is a big topic, mental health these days.
I would think that percentage is probably even higher. I mean, I don't think there's any larger stress than financial stress. And I think that financial stress then typically drives other issues within family dynamics, whether that is within marriages or whether it's in children and different things. Is the financial piece of it. When there is that stress, it slows down and impacts everything else.
And you couldn't be more correct. I've had people that had a beautiful marriage and then the financial aspect of it, and a husband who maybe had something like I know this gentleman, it was years ago, got in a car accident. Because of the way the policy was set up, it put a financial stress, plus he couldn't work. And that was the beginning of the end of that relationship. And just to hear it and see it, I'm like, no, let's pull back. There's always money. There's an abundance of it. And it's one of the lowest forms of energy, but we put it at the highest and we let it drive things. And it's not the people with just a little bit. You know that. Correct. We have multimillionaires that let their accounts overdraw their checking accounts, and they live in complete fear. And
I think they almost live in more fear. I feel individuals in those situations tend to feel the scarcity, even though they have an abundance. They're so worried they're going to lose all of that abundance that it drives a wedge there and focus on, well, I can't spend this, I can't do that, I can't any of it, and it drives other people crazy. Probably.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Also, some of the statistics in here, this financial stress in I don't know who they interview for a lot of these stats, but said it decreased over the last couple of years. But we have inflation and interest rates and overall economic uncertainty that continue to make people feel anxious, again, around money.
Well, and I think I could see the decrease piece because going through what we went through during those times frame, the uncertainty, all the stress, other stresses,
right.
Whatever segment you're in, it was stressful. And then now coming out on the other side, I feel that people believe there is more certainty with the job force and different things. So I feel that that's probably helped decrease some of that stress. However, they're now seeing that inflation and that the fact that it costs more to go buy groceries. It costs more to just live. Utilities have gone up.
Right.
And now they're seeing that causing an additional stress.
Right. Yes. And as we know, they can be legitimate, but they can be highly exaggerated. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, actually a life coach, and was talking about how we inherit our family's beliefs, not just on faith, but on money. And those are the ones that aren't really challenged and need to be challenged because there's different times, totally different times than it used to be. We were talking also about how things are we're such a throwaway society. Everything is so temporal that if it breaks, we throw it away and get something new. And my husband was asking me, he said, hey, did you ever grow up anywhere where you had to dig a hole to put your trash in? And I go, no. I was in Southern California. There's concrete jungle and the beach. So no, we didn't. But he was talking about how they had to find places because that's what they did. You threw your trash away or burned it. And I said, but good thing now we have landfills.
Right.
But my goodness, it's just one of those, we're a throwaway society, and things, I think it's like you used to be able to keep a vacuum cleaner and just get a little bit of repair. But now if it breaks, you'd like almost have to go get a new one.
Right. Because the cost to repair things nowadays tends to be more or almost equal to buying a new one. So people just go and buy the new one. But 100%, I mean, my grandma's vacuum was passed on down. I mean, and it still works, right?
Right.
But that generation kept things, kept jars, kept, like we have little cute little deer jars that she had kept. And apparently what came in it was the butter. What came in the jar, and that's how they just, it's just interesting that how they would reuse things and repurpose it. And like you say, our society,
we're a throwaway
generation was you buy plastic things and then you throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
They had glassware and kept that and just reuse it. So it's just interesting.
Going back to that stress, though, it also keeps influencing us on the way we invest, the way we spend, and all that. So if we don't get it under control, we just kind of keep digging ourselves in a deeper hole. So anyway,
rather than taking a breath and reevaluating the whole situation and making a sound decision, people let emotions drive and make a quick, immediate decision. I got to make one now because I got to correct it, but that's not always going to provide a solution.
Way. That's where I tell people, take a deep breath.
Let a professional help you, like your CPA, your financial advisor.
Right. And I don't think, even back when our parents were doing this, there wasn't the knowledge that there is today. Even though a lot of it hasn't changed much, there wasn't the access to it. And so now when people think they have to do something right away, I'm like, let's take a deep breath. And then like with Mark and I and others in the office, we'll have the appointments and start building on it because it's not quick. And I'm going to say this over and over again. What gets people to retirement does not get them effectively through retirement. It just doesn't. The game totally changes. Right. Taxation, everything. And we'll get into that. But
I think the easy access of all the information back in the day when we used to do this, like even 10 years ago, people let us do our job and help them. But now they have they're constantly getting that information online and all that. So it starts stressing them out and they start
paralysis
stuff
and worrying about stuff that they don't need to.
Overload, and then they're panicked about something that's not.
Yeah. They don't need to be panicked about. Correct.
Behavioral finance. So I touched on that in the blog. It's a study on how psychology influences investors' behavior and in turn, financial markets. The central idea is that investors do not always act in their own best interest, often making decisions shaped by biases or emotional responses. There's times when I know that we're driving and I'm like, hey, so the gas went down 23 cents. Who said what? Who said, oh my gosh, we just took over whatever country and now our gas is going to be cheap because 2 days later it goes back up. And it does behavior and it drives our economy and then drives the emotions.
Drives the market every day. Mm-hmm. Somebody says something, it's like crazy.
The whole piece of the market is an emotional reaction, whether it goes up or goes down. It's an emotional reaction to an announcement, to information.
Right. So, yeah, like we say, investor sentiment moved the market today. Why do people not always make rational money decisions? Because behavior is shaped by limited information or over information. So they get information paralysis, ingrained biases and emotions. Some financial models assume that individuals act logically and they rely on the data and naturally make prudent choices to manage risk while pursuing return. And in reality, people are humans.
Right.
It's an emotion. It's always, what makes you feel comfortable? What makes you feel like this is going to work?
Are you missing out? Are you missing out on something?
Fear of missing out is a big one.
I'm losing my rear on that investment. What do I need to do right now?
That's the hard thing for me. And I don't know about you, doing this for 41 years and somebody comes to me and I can see through a totally different lens. I can look at theirs and I am so hopeful and so excited for them. They've done absolutely fantastic. And even when they haven't done fantastic, it seems like I'm like, oh no, this is so good. I mean, I started out with a dime. Anything's possible. But you do that and then you start getting that pushback and the brakes and I'm like, okay, respectful. Then I get to a point where you're going, I absolutely know I'm your North Star in this situation. Like, you're going to have to forget the behaviors and forget the stuff in the past, because where you're going, where you want to go, is so totally different.
Right.
Well, and where you want to go, you can't continue to do the same things that you've done and get there.
Right.
You have to find ways to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's
And
a very
trusting.
hard piece, yes.
Yeah. That's
And-
part of that familiarity bias, excuse me, can't say it, where they
The tendency to prefer investments.
always did it, or it's done what it's done in the past rather
they
than,
know.
right. Yeah.
Right. And kind of on a little side note here, I know that for the first time in my life, after my husband's stroke and the people that were brought into our lives, I had a therapist brought into our lives, and she was that Northern Star, and that light bulb went off. I had to get her vision. I had to see everything through what she could see in order for us to get him where he needed to go. I had to forget the past, forget the stuff I knew, the people that I knew that had maybe went through that same situation, and go, okay, Christy, I need you. I need to be in your energy field, and I need you to coach me, because I need to do stuff I've never done. And that's what I feel like we do. And that's what I was telling her and the other therapists at the rehab is that, wow, if we can just duplicate this trust, that's what it comes down to, trust that you're in the right place. Yeah. Okay. Common behavioral biases, like we said, familiarity bias. They prefer investments that feel familiar. When, like you said, if you want to go where you've never been, you're going to have to do what you've never done. And when you're in retirement, you've never been there before.
Right.
You're going to have to trust and rely.
And it's a whole different world because there are so many moving parts. So my mother-in-law, we just finally got her Social Security and all that stuff gone through. Medicare, we did that with you. Thank you for your help on that.
You're welcome.
Obviously, we needed help, so we went to someone who could help us, right? I mean, so this is the whole piece of when you don't know how to do something or it's not your field of expertise, find someone whose it is.
Right. And that's where I take pride in what we have collectively gathered. We are holistic. I know enough about taxes to say you have to talk to Rachelle. And, in Medicare, now you've learned even more as I sat with you guys and said, hey, this is what you need to look at. So.
Yeah, loss aversion refers to the tendency of prioritizing managing a loss rather than achieving gains. So,
right. And I go back to one of the clients I'm working with right now. They are so financially set, and they've done a great job at raising their son, who is totally financially set with his family. So now it's looking through the lens I have of my experience and saying, we need to make this, not all of it, but a chunk of it, we need to make this work for you. It needs to have a long-term care piece in here. That doesn't cost anything, but it's making those dollars, instead of sitting in the market going up and down all the time, take it out and make it work for you. Totally unfamiliar.
Yep.
Because
I've never heard of it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's educating and giving them time. But the last time they left here, he said, okay, I'm going to go talk to some people, some of my friends that I trust. And this is where confirmation bias comes in, because it's a tendency to seek information that supports your existing belief, not where you're going. You know what I mean? I'm like, let me have you talk to my clients who have trusted and done this and see where that's at. And then I even explained to him, I said, hey, here I am, hot off the press. My husband couldn't do 2 out of 6 ADLs.
Yep.
Activities of daily living. So then you turn that rider on and you get double your payment. So if you're getting $3,000 a month, you get $6,000 a month to take care of whatever it is you want to pay cash for.
great product.
Long-term care. Yeah.
Well, decision making is hard, and I went through this in a class recently where it talks about trying to get that perfect information, but there is no perfect information because there's way too many what ifs. So trying to understand and provide that that clarity on the process of a decision making, where what information can we obtain in the next 3 to 7 days? We get that information. How does that help us make a better decision? If it does, we wait and get that. If not, we need to go ahead and make that decision. And if we're not making a decision, I always tell people not making a decision is making a decision. And trying to force that into, you're making a decision either way, just do it. And then the other piece that I thought was interesting is there is no right answer. And we believe that there is a right answer. We've been taught that. And in reality, when we're making decisions, there isn't a right answer. You make a choice. And then if you need to pivot, you pivot.
Right.
So, it's one of those that.
In making those decisions, that's where you need a professional, because if you're going to go to all your friends and ask them, you're just going to drive you crazy, because their needs and their goals are different. What you're going to do is confuse yourself. Yeah. And so that's what we do. We come in here. What are your goals?
Where are you now?
Look at,
Where do you want to go?
It's the plan.
And here are the things I would put in place. Life insurance in case you've got a tax burden that you're passing on. Just all the different things, getting prepared for Medicare, getting prepared for IRMA, the excise tax, all that stuff that they don't know anything about. So experiential bias occurs when individuals heavily rely on past experiences to inform their current decisions and judgments. Recency bias, which leads people to rely too heavily on current trends. Many are very short-lived. Like when the market's going up, we can't convince people to get out of it, because what goes up does come down. It'll still go back up. Yeah. But if you're in a place in your retirement and you're living off of those funds and you're taking out at the same time that it's going down, you're actually creating a perfect storm of running out of money.
Yep.
So,
well, and it goes back to buy low, sell high.
Right.
There is a reason that's a saying and a
right.
It is amazing people that want to get out when it's tanking, and you're like, no, that's an opportunity. You need to take advantage of that. Yeah, you take advantage of that. So,
and it's changing that mindset, right? So that's even, to me, that's part of removing the emotion and changing the mindset of what is the goal. Well, the goal is to acquire more stocks.
Right.
The dollar is the impact that's happening because it goes up and down, but we want that number of stocks. And if we can shift that mindset to people, maybe we can help with that emotion that goes with the market going up and down from a dollar standpoint.
Right. And again, we're talking two totally different. I mean, you have it when you're accumulation, and then you've got the whole point of now we're going to live off of everything you've accumulated. So what is that going to look like the next 20 years?
It's different goals.
It's preserving. So herd mentality.
Emotions stay the same. That's tough, but the goals change. So it's kind of.
And I'm telling you, just fresh coming out of it, 11 weeks and I don't know, 5 days. Your whole life changes when you're fighting for somebody, whether it's yourself or somebody else's health. Yeah. You think you got it figured out until your feet are in that freaking fire. You don't know nothing, And so that's where, as much as I hate people go through stuff, including us, I'm thankful when you get to the other side, you're like, yeah, everything we put in place doesn't even smell like smoke. You come out of it. You don't like going through it, but yeah. So that's what I told you. In the herd mentality, man, I used to call it water cooler investment,
which I think is the best way to describe it. I love that analogy.
And it's kind of goes along with the Rolodex. When I say water coolers, people are like, what? Well, there used to be water coolers. We didn't have plastic bottles. You went to the water cooler and everybody was around the water cooler, in big businesses. And I know when working at Bank of America, we'd be around the water cooler getting our water and everybody'd be talking, or the lunchroom. And they come up with that herd mentality of what, and you kind of go with it instead of going to the professionals. So I am proud that we all work and we give advice for free. We hold workshops at absolutely no cost to our community. It is a cost because we're all coming up with giving our time and renting the facility and doing all that. But I wouldn't change it for anything. Right. It's so rewarding because you watch the light bulbs just go off throughout the entire.
And people tend to open up a little more with us when they know they're not going to be
charged.
Yeah. So you kind of tend to get more information and can help them more quickly.
Right.
Getting good educational information out there because, as we've talked about, information overload, but not everything you hear is accurate. So it's a good opportunity to be in person and be able to have those conversations and kind of shut down some of that information
noise,
stuff that's not.
Right. And I can honestly say, I think all of us are on the conservative side of things. So we're not for everybody.
Correct.
Somebody wants to come in and talk straight stock and they're in there, getting into retirement and all that. There's a place for it. But I'm not the herd mentality on that. We are so individualistic when we talk to people about their plan because that's really, at the end of the day, all that matters.
Well, and I think that's a big piece of why there are consultations or having the education seminars. It gives people an opportunity to understand where our mindset is and what our goals are and how we want to help people and our strategies that are towards that.
Right.
So they get to understand and see if we are a good fit. If we're not a good fit, that's not a problem. We can probably connect them with someone who is a good fit that will do more what they're what they want towards their goals.
Right.
And use your professional if you're out there and you're getting emotional, you're wanting to make these rash decisions, or you're not sure, call your professional and talk to them about it rather than getting emotional about things.
Well, we have all the software.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, I'm in this every day, all day, 41 years. And so, and like with you, I'm glad you finally put that huge television up, because it's running all day and we can see what's going on in the trends, and they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you don't have the emotions that are connected to it.
Exactly.
That makes a huge difference in things.
Mhm.
You're able to understand someone else's emotions, but you're not tied into that, and you're not getting into that hype. And that's the difference.
Oh, I'm telling you, when he was in rehab, I was on my phone and I had so much stuff in my cart to order. Then I went over to Christy, who would be who I am in people's financial life. And I was like, this is what I'm going to buy. And she's just like, in total love, empty your cart. And I'm like, no, you just don't understand. She goes, no, I do understand. And I'm like, well, Amazon has a good return policy. And she's like, empty your cart. And told me what to put and what to do. And then came to the house. Like, we go into we don't go to their house, but we go into their financial life. We hear about their children. We hear about their grandchildren, and we can start helping them navigate through all that. And that's what, and it's relative to their specific situation.
Risk tolerance, we evaluate that as well, because everybody's different.
Again, all of our software that we pay a lot of money for, and education to go through it. So, how do emotions influence money decisions? Fear of loss during market downturns, fear of missing out, like we said, FOMO, anxiety expressed through constant account monitoring, and then overconfidence after several positive outcomes, where people get a chunk of money. We talked about one client in particular, and then blow through it. And that's the behavioral thing. That's an emotional thing, not feeling worthy. So you go out and spend money on people and things that you're taking care of everybody else and not yourself.
Correct.
And this lady we're talking about, her husband passed away and left her with a sizable amount, and she has nothing left now. Nothing. I can confidently say she has blown through it all, and emotionally not feeling worthy. So she goes and gives people money that say they're going to pay her back, that don't pay her back. And even with your counsel on taxes, my counsel on here, let me be the bad guy and tell these people that are draining you that it's no more. Yeah. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Yeah. And that's a big piece of it, is you as the individual have to do the work. We can provide you the guidelines. We can provide you the map. And we can, help in some situations to help maybe some of the uncomfortable situations you don't want to address.
Right.
But you ultimately have to be the one that takes the action and follows through.
Right.
We can only do so
much.
Mm-hmm.
It's individual. And it's also when they're couples, it's a couple thing. I'm going to touch on it real quick, that statistically men transition and pass away before women. So then women are left held with whatever was accumulated, and usually not part of it, and no direction.
Yeah. And going back to that page one, the stress part of the financial part, being on the same page as a couple is huge.
Yes.
Because if you're not, that eliminates a lot of stress. It really
Right.
does, yeah.
Well, and I think it also goes back to the piece that we preach about a lot, is making sure that the significant other, whether it's male or female, comes to meetings with you at least once a year, but preferably all the meetings, because they are then involved in the conversations. They're hearing the terminology. They're sitting across, realizing that we're doing our best to explain things in layman's terms, in very non-professional terms. However, that doesn't mean that I don't get excited about some terminology, and it comes out because that's how I talk. But if I'm sitting across from you and we've had that, I can see when you get that deer in headlights look, and I notice, take a step back.
Right.
But they're already comfortable if they've been a part of
The journey, yes. Yeah. Even if it's triggering a little bit, like, okay, let's remember we said this, and then just let it sit. They go, oh yeah. I had a gentleman day before yesterday, a client of mine for years. He called and said, I just know it's end of life. I could stay in denial, but I need to make sure that my wife knows that she can call you. This is everything we've ever set up. Don't want it to be this way. Hope it isn't this way, but I do believe it. And I said, yeah, she's in good hands. And it's not if we're going to transition, it's when.
For everybody.
Everybody. And we just had that tough conversation.
Uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable
It is,
conversation.
but I'm like, kudos to you. I am so proud of you that you're not living in denial. and that you are passing the torch off. And she knows, she's been a part of it. I went out to California and met her. Him and he was referred to me, and we did Zooms, and she was never on it. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be out there. Let's plan dinner. I want her to know and meet me. And, that was probably, goodness, 7 years ago, but.
Right. And then the other thing is we all think we're going to die when we're 90 years old. There's nothing wrong with talking about end of life when you're 50 or 45, because we've seen it a lot. People pass away in an accident or something, and then you have that young wife or young spouse that doesn't have any idea what's next or what's been done for them.
And people think you have to have a certain amount of money to talk to professionals. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And that is where my heart came in from dime to diamonds, is to tell people, I don't care where you're at. I've been there. I was left with 10 cents, no home, no car. I had fled a 3,000 square foot, no more than that, home, everything. I had everything and started over, and had a huge IRS debt that was unfortunately given to me because of being a victim of identity theft. So I know, that's what I tell people. That's where my confidence comes. I'm not saying this because I inherited this business from family or anybody else. I went through the trenches, and we can help you with whatever it is. And the younger you are, it's better, because then you'll know, and we're offering the information.
The earlier you start, the less pivoting you do later, because you've already made pivots along the way, and you're making your adjustments that you need to, and you have a nice cushion that's been working for you this whole time. So the sooner the better. It's never too early to have any of those conversations at all.
Right. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up this. We could probably do 2 or 3 episodes on this, but the blog is on phx.financial. It is understanding the emotions behind financial decisions. I am going to encourage everybody to jump on and read that, because there's a lot we didn't cover, and it's super informational. It's timeless information.
Yeah, it is.
You can read it in a year or 2 years, pass it on to the kids. And there's no distinguishing between how much, whether they have 10 cents or you've got millions and millions of dollars, or age.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, and understanding and getting your feet wet. I mean, from the time we're just taught to go get a job, and we're not taught on the checking account and on savings and on all those things on a paycheck that don't make sense. FICA, SSI. You just know that you just lost a ton of your paycheck to those initials,
those letters.
And that's where I tell people, bring your kids or grandkids in. We don't mind. This is our calling.
If they're going to follow your habits. So your kids, I mean, they're going to see you doing this and this. And it's so great to talk to your kids about this stuff, because it gives them a head start big time. So.
Right. So if you'd like a free consultation with regarding any part of your finances, so financially, any type, any part, taxes, we have I call you in-house CPA. We all run together and understand and work together on the same, I feel like that on the same plane. We just get it. And so we offer that up at absolutely no cost. You can go to the link and book an appointment, or reach out to one of us. We're all in constant contact with each other. We can set something up. But I think we'll call that a wrap on this podcast for today. Again, understanding the emotions behind financial decisions. We don't develop them as much as we inherit them. And then we are to figure it out and the best we can. And that's kind of what this blog I put on there was all about. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Again, Dime to Diamonds. I am Suzanne Porske with Phoenix Financial Group.
Mark Farquhar with Phoenix Financial Group.
Rachelle Harp with Rachelle Harp CPA.
Accounting. Whatever you want.
Harp Accounting. You can reach me at www.harpaccounting.com.
There you go. Well, thank you again for joining us, and we will talk at you next time. Have a good day.